Hello, and welcome to The Cup, the Currently Unnamed Podcast. Well, you can always come here first to quench your thirst, your reality thirst, and where we put the real and tea in reality. That was a new thing Logan decided to come up with. And so I'm going to grow with it. We putting the real and the tea in reality. I am your girl, Lana, your resident diva, here to give the tea, spill the tea, and drink the tea because you know I love me some tea. Purr. And in my cup today, I actually am drinking tea. Sweet tea it is. It's that kind of day, that kind of night. I'm drinking it in this cup, this regular old, Rudy Poo cup. But on hand, I always keep the coolest cup, my cup, the cup. And if you ever want to get that cup, you know what to do. Description, the link is in the description and ticking below you. LanaGCreation.etsy.com, where you can pick up your cup merch and all other things. So, check it out.
Well, I guess joining, I'll jump right in. It's Wes, as always. I am just chilling. Came from playing way too much Smash Bros. And now I am chilling, getting ready to talk some wrestling. So, and by the way, I'm drinking some H2O in my Yeti thermos as always.
Love that for you.
And yeah, it's Brooke coming at you live from the spottiest hotel room reception you will ever find. The queer college graduate who plays way too much Smash Bros, but Wes was the one playing it earlier, and I cannot take that title away from him. But tonight I will be, as you can see, an Axiom Stan account, even if I don't get the opportunity to talk about my man very often. He's still my man. He had a great match with Scripps on NXT this past Tuesday. If you have not watched it, go watch it. But yeah, I'm really excited to talk about Backlash. It's a shorter card, thankfully, so we don't have a lot of filler to go over. There is some filler, but it should be a good card.
It is. I think so too. We're going to jump right into talking about Backlash. But before we jump into talking about Backlash, I want to get this out the way. Let's talk about the draft, because the draft just happened. We got all these, and I'm going to be honest. I thought the draft happened. It was really, some good shakeups, some moving parts, and some interesting things. I had a couple of issues with a couple of call-ups from NXT, not gonna lie, because I didn't understand them. Not that I didn't want them to come up, because I always want to see anybody come up from NXT. I think that's a great thing. But I'm confused about a couple of them. Let me start off with the first one I'm confused about. First of all, why are we putting people in NXT just to bring them back? Well, we started them on the main roster, to put them in NXT just to draft them back into the main roster. Apollo. I'm like, what are we doing?
Gender too.
Well, I mean, guys, that it all really comes down to how much do you like a job? And it turns out you can job on NXT and you can job on the main roster.
Hey, we can do Apollo that way, but we cannot hinder gender. Okay, don't hinder gender. But,
bro, I would never jest at jobbing gender, never.
It's not jobbing him. It's a joke. Sorry, Lana. But regardless, I mean, I'm not too mad about Apollo getting called up. I feel like him going back to NXT was probably a good thing for him. He had been kind of stale on the main roster. And this gives him the opportunity to have like a bit of a refresh.
I mean, also
here getting called up is...
we do get a classic as well, which with Apollo Crews, which is Apollo Crews continues to lose.
He is a former Intercontinental Champion. I will give him that. And he did win that belt at Mania a couple of years back, so he does have like something to show for his main roster time. But like, honestly, Indus Sher and Apollo Crews getting called up, I'm kind of whatever about. The things that I'm concerned about is, one, the entire gutting of the NXT Women's Tag Team division. Because not only did you just call up the current champs, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, who have only been champs for about, I think, 3 months now, but then that happened on SmackDown, and they set up this whole thing with, they're having a match with Kaden and Katana on NXT on Tuesday, and a lot of people are like, they'll drop the belts then, and they'll go to the main roster, so they'll have tag belts, which, not the best, but it kind of made sense. And then Raw on Monday, Kaden and Katana get called up. Which, again, I love them, they're great, but like...
I have to imagine they were actually listening to us. When we were talking about the issues with the women's tag division on the main roster, they said, wait, NXT's doing something, we're just going to steal that. And at least we're going to probably have a tag division in the main roster.
I mean, great, sure.
True.
But I'm just like, why are we just giving, like, they got those tag team titles at Stand and Deliver, right at WrestleMania. And then they get called up in a draft a couple of weeks later. Like, what?
Oh, well, if we're going to talk about
Indy
titles,
Hartwell,
yes,
because that was another one
I guess
that just confused me and blew my mind. I'm like, y'all just gave her this title. She just became the champion after working forever. Like, they built it up like, oh my gosh, she's been working for this moment forever and forever. And you give it to her just to call her up and make her leave her title behind.
Yeah, she literally relinquished the belt on NXT on Tuesday.
I know. I watched it.
Yeah, not for you, for the viewing public who may not have watched NXT was the only reason I brought that up. And, they've done it before, because when Asuka got called up, she dropped the belt. But the interesting thing to me is it's not even standard on this draft, because Isla and Alba are going to SmackDown with the women's tag belts. Like, show me the logic, please.
Yeah,
unless
they're
retiring those tag belts.
There isn't one. Perhaps there was a rabid animal that came loose in the screen room, and caused some helter-skelter, and people absolutely lost their mind. Because I really, a little bit of a deep cut here, but I feel like this is like the worst GMing than I've seen, like with even the Houston Texans, right? Which is really bad for the people who don't watch NFL. But it just doesn't make sense, guys. None of these call-ups from NXT make sense. They've like stripped the entire division. There are a few, but you know what I mean.
The one that I am very excited about, there are two that I think that are like great, but the one that I'm thrilled about is JD McDonough.
Yeah, me too.
The best call-up out of, I think, this entire list of people. You could argue Zoe Stark and Grayson Waller, but JD McDonough is somebody who should have been on the main roster 2 years ago. He shouldn't have even went to NXT after he was done with UK. He should have came straight to the main roster. And allegedly, currently floating around is that he could be joining Judgment Day as soon as this Sunday. And if that is the case, that is a perfect way to introduce him to the main roster.
Perfect fit for him, by the way.
I mean, and that's great. I had no problem with any other call-up. I just thought calling the champions as soon as they got them was very confusing. But I also think that maybe Indy is injured, so that's why she relinquished her belt, and the tag team champions didn't have to relinquish their belts because she's injured, so she can't actually really fight to fight for her thing. So they just go call her up, she go get her life back together, then come on to the main roster. But it just was weird to me. I just felt bad that the fact that she was working so hard to become NXT champion and then get it at WrestleMania at this Stand and Deliver, the big pay-per-view for them, and then she gets called up and has to relinquish it.
We should also mention,
I appreciate it.
We should also mention a couple belts did swap shows, so we're going to have new champions on different shows too. Most notably, to me, Bianca and Rhea swap.
Swapped.
Okay, the other rumor going around is that they're going to be renaming those belts, and it's not going to be the Raw and the SmackDown Women's Championship anymore. I will feel so bad for Bianca because this is going to be official on Monday, right? That's when the draft ends, right? Even if she retains over EO on Monday, right? If they make her swap belts, her reign as the Raw Women's Champion will not be the longest by about 2 weeks. And that is cringy. But the other thing is you had the Intercontinental title and the US title are now on different shows. So Austin Theory is going to be on SmackDown. Gunther and the rest of Imperium are going to be on Raw, which great. Gunther needed some fresh opponents. He needed some fresh stuff to keep his amazing reign with the IC title going. So I'm really here for that. And also something that did not get announced on the main show, but I'm very happy about. The ring announcers on Raw and SmackDown, Mike Rome and Samantha Irvin, are swapping brands. So Samantha Irvin is now going to be on Raw with her fiance Ricochet, and then Mike Rome will now be announcing on SmackDown. And also, that just means we get to hear Samantha Irvin introduce Cody Rhodes. We get to hear Samantha Irvin introduce Imperium. Like, we're winning.
I agree.
Yes,
Although
I
there
like
is something
go ahead.
strange that I have to talk about, which is, and I saw this floating around the WWE verse, and I think it's a good point to bring up when we're talking about the draft, which is, unfortunately, the draft kind of doesn't matter a little bit, especially when you get to the champions, because you guys know we've been seeing faces like Cody, faces like the Judgment Day, Bloodline, Brock Lesnar, free agent, Brock Lesnar. They just kind of go wherever they want to go. They're like, oh, I'm on Raw tonight. All right, I'm also on SmackDown tonight. I'm gonna miss Raw. You know what I mean? So it's like on the title section, we have seen quite a lot. Do you think that maybe that's going to reduce coming now because we've gone past WrestleMania? Do you think we're going to go back to being a little bit more stringent?
I think now that they separated the championships, then we're gonna get Roman strictly on SmackDown, and more than he will on Raw, since they will have their new champion. That'll happen once they finally crown their new champion, I think. Still with the tag team title, still combined. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens will be doing both shows until they separate. Are they about to separate them?
Well, they're not going to be separating them. Allegedly, they're going to be unifying the Raw and SmackDown tag belts, right? And they
Okay.
will be, I believe they're going to be called the WWE Tag Team Championships. And then on SmackDown, they're going to be introducing the World Tag Team titles back to the company, which, again,
Okay.
no issues with
Fine.
that. Please
Great.
stop having brand exclusive titles that require stupid title swaps when you want to swap the champions to different brands. On the subject of free agents, I know we did not establish a rant card thing.
Go. We'll make it happen for you.
All right, am I back? Am I back?
Even your internet was more terrified of this rant to come. Continue.
All right. They
Yes,
were
it
like,
was.
Yeah, sorry. I've been having to do that every now and then. But a mini rant. I'm not even going to give this a full rant. The idea of having free agents after a draft, unless you are Brock Lesnar, is so dumb. So dumb. Brook Grant 1. Because not only are like most of the people that got labeled free agents are not part-timers, right? So you have Brock, who is a part-timer, right? And then if they would have done like Brock Lesnar, Logan Paul, to a lesser degree, even John Cena, if they would have done those people and said, hey, these people are free agents, they're not drafted to any brand, they're on whatever show they want, that's fine, right? But you're telling me people that are workhorses like Dolph Ziggler, Mustafa Ali, to a lesser extent, Elias, two of my favorites in the entire world right now, Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin, all of them are going to be free agents. Not to mention Baron Corbin. What happened to this man? I feel bad for him because as much as I'm not even a big fan, he's talented. Like, he actually does things in the ring. Omos being a free agent, fine, don't care, whatever. But then you also get Von Wagner and Zion Quinn getting called up from NXT, and yet they're getting called up as free agents. And not to even mention that the two of them are doing nothing on NXT, right? Like, they're barely on programming. When they're on program, they're losing. And to me, this just feels like, hey, these are the people that we have no plans for, that we are not going to be making any storylines for. And these are the people that if we need somebody to lose to take a pinfall to make them a credible jobber, these are the people we're going to be chopping around for that. And when you look at the people they've selected for that, it hurts a lot when you see the level of talent that is in this free agent pool.
I completely agree. You know, it is more. There's nothing more true than you could ever say. Because you know these people shouldn't be called free agents. They're actually the job squad. That's their new group name I've given them. And of course, it's
Trademark.
being led. The job squad's leader is Dolph Ziggler, who is my favorite wrestler. And you know I could talk forever about why he's so great. But it's quite a shame. It's quite a shock.
If it were up to me and I were booking here, there are two things I would do. One, get these people all drafted. Two,
WWE Underground.
no, not that, never that. But the other thing I would do is I would send a couple of these people back down to NXT. I mean, I know we didn't like it as much when we were talking about Apollo and Jinder earlier, but if you send people like, I don't know, Cedric and Shelton down to NXT to help keep the tag division boosted, since you just drafted like 3 tag teams out of NXT, 4 if you count everybody, like, boost that tag team division with a veteran with like 20 plus years of experience in Shelton Benjamin, and then one of the best technical wrestlers on the planet today, Cedric Alexander. Let them have a nice run in NXT, get the experience, get the boost back underneath them. Also, Shawn Michaels and Shelton Benjamin have been friends for like 15 years. You're telling me he's not going to book Shelton Benjamin like a star? Sorry, rant. But and then you have people like Mustafa Ali, who didn't even get a chance to come through NXT. He was straight on 205 Live, and then he moved straight to SmackDown. So give him a run down there. Let him have a match with Wes Lee for the North American title. Like, that would be so good. But, again, we're in a situation where the company has too many people on the main roster. They're not going to be releasing anybody soon. So they have, to borrow a quote from Twitter, God really has his favorites sometimes. And in this case, the God of WWE, Vince and Triple H, have their favorites, and they have picked who's going to be featured.
Yeah, we have to hope those free agents do something other than just job on both brands, but we'll see. Regardless, that was the draft, right? Because maybe the draft was a little strange, a little uneventful, and it is what it is. But you know what's not going to be uneventful? Backlash.
One more thing, though. Roman got drafted to SmackDown, which means the World Heavyweight title is going to be on Raw, which we did not even bring up. But
I mean, because it hasn't happened yet. I'd rather talk about stuff that's happening. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like, I'm like, okay, yeah. I just don't know what the draft is going to take. What it's going to produce, because it's like we get a draft every year, and then it's like before the year is over, everybody smosh back together again anyway. So it's just like, I don't know. I hope that doesn't happen, but we'll see. But yes, let's get on to Backlash, because we got a lot to talk about when it comes to.
Indeed, we do.
I mean, it's not a big card, which I'm not mad at. That maybe it'll give us more time to have a fully developed match, since we don't have a whole lot of people on the card, and so we'll see what happens. But let's start with this. This is not in a particular order. I don't know the order of the show, so this is just how I found them to put them on the slideshow. So we don't know the order of the show. I don't know the order of the show. Somebody might know. I don't know. But the first match we're going to talk about is the 6-man tag of the Riddle, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens versus the Bloodline. Thoughts, people? Thoughts?
It's gonna be a good match.
I agree.
I am intrigued as to where they are going with this whole Usos Romans solo portion right now, because something was going to happen on SmackDown. Solo got sent out. We don't know what that something was going to be. Not only did that something not happen, but the Usos lost again to Sami and Kevin, who are still holding those straps, and they look great on them. Very happy they did not just get like a paper reign with the belts. Riddle's back. Him and Solo have been having their issues too. Solo's been getting a lot of screen time lately, and I'm really here for it. He's been doing great. And this should be a certified bop, and I'm very excited to watch this match.
So who's coming out with the titles?
Titles are not on the line. It's just 6-man.
Oh, it's not. Okay, well
Yeah.
then this is gonna be a good match. There we go. That's it.
I mean, I think it's interesting that Solo was drafted with Roman, but the Usos were not drafted with Roman. So I'm
Mhm.
like, not the whole entire bloodline was drafted, just Solo and Roman. Interesting. We'll see what happens.
So
Just
if
thought I
the
would
if
say
if the titles aren't on the line in this match, which I was not aware of, doesn't that just mean that Solo's gonna pin Riddle for this match?
No, if it were me personally, right? Because we're getting to that point now where I think they're starting to look like 3 pay-per-views ahead. I feel like we're going to be getting Jey Uso versus Roman at SummerSlam unless Cody wins Money in the Bank. It's like the only way I can rationalize that in my head. Um, so to me, I feel like this is the prime opportunity of like, hey, you need to have the Usos keep losing. They need to keep getting the pin. It doesn't matter which one of them gets pinned. If it were me, I would have Jey take the pin, just keep the dissension going. But I do think Riddle, Kevin, and Sammy are winning this personally, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I think they might have to win because I think if they don't win this match, and then other matches that I think down the line are going to happen the way they are, fans would be very unhappy.
Yeah, my prediction is that Riddle, Kevin Owens, and Sammy is going to win because the Usos still have to look like they have to lose for the dissensions to keep happening. I agree with you, Brooke, that if they win, then it takes away from what this story could possibly develop into. And Riddle just coming back, it'll be great to have him winning something at this pay per view at this point with him coming back, and then of course the tag team champions. You don't want them to just win on Friday to come to Backlash and then lose in a
Mm-hmm.
6-man. It doesn't make any sense. So I think Kevin and Sammy and Riddle will win this match. All right. Moving right along, the next match we're going to talk about is the 3-man match: Bobby Lashley, Austin Theory, and Bronson Reed. I'm I don't know how I feel about this match, but go ahead. Y'all talk about
Yawn.
it. It's just not.
I just don't care. Um, I have seen Bobby Lashley, Austin Theory so many times since I think Money in the Bank last year because they had a U.S. title match at Money in the Bank last year too. I'm just so sick of it. And they're on the same brand again too. They both got drafted to SmackDown. Like Theory's probably retaining. If he does, cool. If he doesn't, also cool. I just don't care anymore. I have lost any interest in this feud.
Well, let's be honest, right? This is not the time for Theory to drop the belt. And these are not the men for Theory to drop the belt too. Unless you're really gonna like mega tsunami push, pun intended, Bronson Reed, um,
Good pun.
then I wouldn't see that happening. And I think that Austin Theory with this title reign is getting to the point where it's almost like Gunther. If you guys remember the beginning of Gunther's run, it's like, oh, he's not getting a paper push. Oh, he's getting a good push. Oh, he's keeping it for a while. Wow, he retained again, again. And at some point we were like, wow, okay, this is going to be a long-term thing. I think Austin Theory is on the tipping point of like, wait a minute. If he retains again, and he retained, when is he dropping this title? And I
Um,
think it might be a little bit of a long run.
Well, to be fair, that after this pay per view, right? Theoretically, let's say he drops the belt at Night of Champions, uh, that will be a 6-month reign minimum. So I mean, that's pretty long reign for WWE with the U.S. title. They don't really go that long typically. Um, but hey, at this point, it's not that Austin Theory is stale to me. It's just this feud with Bobby Lashley because I feel like it's been going on for so long. Like, and I
Agreed.
know it's just like a rekindling of the feud because they weren't even feuding at Mania. But like, I don't know. It's just been so off and on. I need Theory against somebody new because all of their matchups have kind of played out the same too with
Yeah, let's just
Lashley
hope
doing the power
Bronson Reed
stuff.
adds a lot to this match.
I mean, he definitely has the capacity to, though. He's a very like talented guy, but
I mean, I love Bobby Lashley. I always do, always will. But I don't want him to win this match. I don't think he's going to win this match. I do see Austin Theory pulling this match, winning, keeping the title. Because this is the thing: when it comes to three man matches, the champion's advantage is very much like huge, because all it does is take everybody fighting against the other person and beating the crap out of the other person, and Austin Theory sneaks in and picks up the victory. Whatever. I don't care. I don't think he's gonna lose this match. I think he's gonna win, and I feel like if he does drop his title soon, it'll be at Night of Champions. I don't think they gonna do it at Backlash. So I
Yep, I
think Austin
completely
Theory's
agree.
gonna win.
I think Bobby Lashley is still going to be salty. I think Austin
Yep.
Theory is going to retain, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that Bronson Reed's going to make a big splash.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I could definitely see this turning into one of the situations where like Bobby does like the Dominator to Bronson Reed. We're super impressed, and then Theory comes in, throws him out of the ring, and steals the pin.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see a world where Bobby Lashley takes the fall in this match unless there is like some crazy booking going on here. But yeah, I would bet on Theory retaining as well.
Agreed. Moving right along, the next match we'll talk about is Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest in a street fight,
A San
because
Juan street fight
a
is
San Juan street fight.
because we're in Puerto Rico, baby. Well, I don't think we've ever actually had a celebrity match to discuss on the podcast before. I don't count Logan Paul. He doesn't count. He's not a celebrity anymore. He's appeared enough. He's a part-timer now. So how do you all typically feel about celebrity matches? I'm genuinely curious.
It depends on the celebrity. Let me get this. Let's get this straight. I'm not really that upset with Bad Bunny and Damian Priest because we've seen Bad Bunny in the ring as well. It's not like he's not wrestled before. We've not seen him, perform in the ring before. So he has done it. He did a decent job at it. Not to, I'm not that mad. And if I'm willing to accept Logan Paul, then I'm willing to be open minded to Bad Bunny, because Bad Bunny has did some training and did worked in the wrestling ring before. And I understand this match. I understand why this match is even on the card. They're in Puerto Rico for the first time. Bad Bunny is hosting the show. Damian Priest is from Puerto Rico. This is just like a home thing this was a match for Puerto Rico. And I'm not mad at that. I'm like, you know what? Let's give Puerto Rico the fans for being able to come out and do a pay-per-view. Let them have a match that's all about Puerto Rico. I'm not mad at this match. Is it going to be the most exciting match of the night? Probably not. But I understand why we have to have this match. We need a filler match, and this is the best filler match that you can give as a gift to the fans of Puerto Rico.
It's interesting. I would declare something about this match, and what it would be is, I think that this match is going to be carried on the back of Damian Priest. And I don't mean that in terms of wrestling, but in terms of storytelling. This is really a good opportunity to see the star quality of solo Damian Priest. We've seen that, but with the Judgment Day, he's kind of been riding those coattails and is definitely the least recognizable member to the casual audience. I think this is a great opportunity for him to show his uniqueness, his individualism, and see if he has that star power. Because if he does have that star power, this is the type of match and this is the type of booking that'll give him a place to stand out and rise in the card.
I saw a thing on Twitter talking about this, and somebody said this is basically Damian Priest WrestleMania match. I'm kind of inclined to agree. I understand why they waited till Backlash for it, because not only are Priest and Bad Bunny both Puerto Rican, but they're both from the same town in Puerto Rico. So like there's history there, plus the tag match at Mania a couple years back. Like there's stuff here. To me, I personally don't feel a lot about this match because it really doesn't have any stakes. That's usually why I don't like celebrity matches very much, is because it does kind of pull the stakes away from whatever's going to happen. Because Let's say Priest wins. Great. Judgment Day is looking strong. Let's say Bad Bunny wins. I mean, cool, but does that really make Priest look all that bad? Like, it's a street fight against a guy who's pretty good in the ring from what we see. And so, like, I that's my problem with celebrity matches, and it's also my problem here. I don't really think this match has anything riding on it, so I don't care about it too much. Um, I will be picking Priest, though, because I think that makes it an interesting storyline. Although I could see the argument of, uh, Bad Bunny wins, and then Rhea's like, all of you need to get your crap together because I'm the only person who's winning matches lately, and then, what have you. But, that's just me.
Yeah, we haven't had one of those moments in too long, dude.
Mm-hmm.
We have not had one
I,
of those moments.
I mean, facts. I mean, I do think Priest will win. Well, I don't know. I think Bad Bunny will win because they want to give the fans something to cheer about, with Bad Bunny being the biggest artist to ever come out of Puerto Rico and on the world right now. So, like,
Honestly, the biggest celebrity to ever come out of Puerto Rico.
period. Like, he is the biggest star right now. And so it's like, I think having Bad Bunny wins will be great. It won't, like you said, it won't do anything for Priest or do anything against Priest. Like, he still, and something that you mentioned was showing Damian Priest as, like, if he can hold his own as a solo competitor out there or whatever. He's been doing some really great promos lately since this whole thing happened. So he's starting to show his personality, his who Damian Priest is, which I love, because when he first came onto the main roster, I liked him. I was like, this unique, enigma of a character, dark, broody, moody. I liked that Damian Priest, and then putting him with the Judgment Day, I thought was like perfect. And so lately, since the whole Bad Bunny thing, his promos have been showing what I liked about him in the first place. And he's like, "Look, I am who I am. I know we friends, but you shouldn't have stuck your nose in our business." And that's
I completely agree, Lana, because, honestly, Damian Priest to me, like, had kind of lost himself, and
mm-hmm.
his promo work had not been very, very good, especially against, like, the feuds they'd been going in recently, specifically the Edge feud. It just
Yes.
didn't feel very impactful. But we are seeing a different Damian Priest in especially his promo work with Bad Bunny. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if it's personally invigorated him, if it's become personal, so he's operating on a higher capacity. But I'm definitely liking the Damian Priest. I just think that if we're gonna see it, if we're gonna see him really not just earn his spot on the Judgment Day, but like if we're gonna see that star moment, that birthed The Rock, that birthed Taker, that birthed all these like stars, birthed John Cena, they have to have that moment. And this could potentially be his moment, as Brooke said, his WrestleMania match, so to speak.
Yeah, I agree.
And to be fair though, as the again probably the biggest NXT fan here, his stuff in NXT is really interesting to look, especially comparison to when he came on the main roster. Um, watch his feud with like Johnny Gargano in NXT, and you can really see how captivating and interesting of a character he can be. Because not only was he like really layered in NXT, but he also got the opportunity to be like work a little bit with the comedy side, work a little bit more with like the intense wrestler who also knows how to take a joke every now and then. Was kind of part of his thing in NXT. We don't really get to see that from him on the main roster, especially since he joined Judgment Day. So I'm really interested to see where this will take his character, if it takes it anywhere. I mean, and we also forget Priest did have like a decently long reign with the U.S. title a couple years ago. So he's done things. It's just in comparison to everyone else in the Judgment Day, when it comes to like storylines, he's been kind of shafted here lately. So I hope that this is like a bit of his coming out party in a way, or
Yep,
like
and I'll
re-coming
just
out
I'll
party.
just throw this out there. It's not going to happen. But imagine a world where we get to see Damian Priest choose Puerto Rico over the Judgment Day. Just imagine that world. Wouldn't that be a great world? Just saying. I know we've kind of already done that with Sami Zayn and the Bloodline, so it'd be a little too quick to have that story being retold. But man, I just think it'd be cool.
I do too. All right. Moving right along to the next match, where it's going to talk about Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar.
You
Y'all know how I
know,
feel about this man. Y'all know how I feel about this man.
when I look at Cody, don't you all agree what he needs is more adversity?
No comment. No comment. Actually, no comment. Um, before the draft, right? Like before Cody got drafted to Raw and Roman got drafted to SmackDown, I was thoroughly convinced Cody was winning this match, and then go on to Money in the Bank, win Money in the Bank, and fight Roman at SummerSlam with Money in the Bank. Now I don't even think that's happening. I don't see a world where Cody wins this match anymore, and I'm bummed because he should. He could win, but I don't think he's fighting Roman at SummerSlam anymore. I just don't see it in the cards, and dude,
No,
I'm bummed, man. I don't
no,
think he's
he's
gonna
not
get
gonna
pushed down the
fight Roman.
card and be like a mid carder or anything, but
He's not fighting Roman at SummerSlam because he's going to win the Raw Championship after this whole debacle of a match right here. It's gonna
no,
be him. It's gonna be him.
no,
It's either him or Seth Rollins. There is nobody
Seth.
else they're going to give it to. It's either Cody Rhodes or it's Seth Rollins, and
Drew
that's
McIntyre or Finn Balor are also like people I feel like that are in the conversation.
it's gonna be Cody Rhodes or Seth Rollins. That's it. That's who it's gonna be because they gonna need somebody who is going to be the inaugural champion on Raw that the fans gonna want to see. And right now, the two people who the fans are rooting for the most is Cody Rhodes and Seth freaking Rollins. It's I don't see why we even have this match. I don't understand what the whole Brock Lesnar flipping on Cody Rhodes. Like, what was the point of that anyway? I still don't know the point. I don't understand why this storyline had to be a thing. Like, Cody Rhodes could have done so many other things coming into Backlash besides dealing with Brock Lesnar. I don't know why this man is even still in WWE. He doesn't want to be there. He only shows up when he wants to. I don't like Brock Lesnar. I don't want him on my screen. I don't want him in any ring. I don't want him anywhere. Like, I don't like this man. So anything I say against Brock Lesnar is going to be totally biased. I don't like him. I don't want him to wrestle anymore. I just want him to go away. And I think this is very unfair for Cody to have to deal with this man. Nobody should have to deal with this man. But
Well, if I've learned anything from WrestleMania, I'm either going to be happy or I'm going to be right. And I can't be right and happy.
nope.
So I unfortunately think that Cody needs more adversity by losing to Brock Lesnar. And then he can lose to Dolph Ziggler. And then he can lose to Jinder Mahal. And then maybe he'll have enough adversity to finally win anything. No, I don't know what on earth is going on. I don't know what the plans are. He's either going to fight Seth Rollins for the 15th time, or he's going to lose to Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is going to go do something on SmackDown, and then he's going to be something on Raw, somewhere, doing whatever. I honestly don't know. I hope Cody wins, but I have to think that Brock's going to win just so I can be right or happy.
Okay.
At least I can have one.
I think Brock is winning, unfortunately, unless Triple H actually cares about Cody Rhodes, which I doubt. I think Brock is going to win. I don't think Cody is going to be fighting for the World Heavyweight Championship at Night of Champions. I don't think Cody will be touching that belt until he wins a belt off of Roman. He has to win a belt off Roman. It cannot be this World Heavyweight title. Cody, by definition, cannot be the first World Heavyweight Champion because then you literally make that belt the consolation prize. It cannot be Cody. Seth makes sense.
Get this. We have Cody win the belt, and then at SummerSlam, Roman fights Cody for the belt and wins
Mute.
the triple time
No,
champ.
we're not even entertaining that. Nope.
That's what Roman needs. Is
to me, it's one of those like it has to be somebody that Roman hasn't already beaten to be the first World Heavyweight champ. So to me, Seth is an option. Finn is an option anyways because he didn't beat Judgment Day Finn. McIntyre could work because it was really close and he got help do it, but
it's
whatever.
not Finn.
I would love it to be Finn though. I want it to be
Finn
Seth.
has lost more than 60% of his last like 10 matches.
But it's a tournament, remember? It's a tournament. But regardless, Brock's winning. I think I really just want this man to go away forever. You remember that like year period of time where Brock lost to McIntyre and then he wasn't on TV? Wasn't that great?
I just
was
want this
beautiful.
match to end and then hear downstate. Okay?
Fair enough.
That's all I want.
I just
Wow.
I want this man over. I just he needs to go.
What
I
are
hate to
like
say it. I think Brock
Cody
winning,
is
but
so over. And WWE just doesn't care.
they don't care, and I don't understand. And, okay, I can't. This man on my screen anymore. Let's talk about something I'd rather talk about. And even this match, I'm just like, eh. Okay.
Next.
But
Dude,
Rhea
I'm stoked
Ripley
about this.
versus
Zelina Vega's
Zelina
winning.
Vega.
Ha ha.
Okay, I am less excited about the prospect of Rhea Ripley losing the belt because it's not going to happen. But I am happy that we are at least getting fresh matchups for the women's championships. That is what I'm happy about.
Wait, matchups?
Yeah, Bianca.
Did you mean
yeah.
one-sided beatdowns?
No, this is not going to be a one-sided beatdown. They're in Puerto Rico. They have to make them believe she's going to win the belt. It's going to be at least 10 minutes.
We're not in
I hope.
Saudi Arabia.
Right. What?
We're not in Saudi Arabia. They don't have to completely destroy kayfabe to make sure that the mid-carder takes a belt.
Okay. I don't think Zelina is winning, but I also feel like they have to give her something here. She does have the hometown thing, which, it's going to be more than a 3-minute beatdown. I hope. I pray.
And she has the LWO on her side too. So.
Exactly.
This match is less than 7 minutes, guaranteed.
I hope you're wrong, but regardless, Rhea's winning. But I'm just so excited that we're actually getting new matchups for the women's titles. Neither of the matchups we're seeing have been on the main roster for a women's title before. We did get Bianca Io in NXT like once, I think, but regardless, does not matter. This is great. I am thrilled. And Zelina Vega is one of the most underrated people on SmackDown right now.
And that we agree on.
Yeah, she's great. So I really hope that this match gets enough time for her to show that.
Like, I will enjoy every 7 minutes of watching Zelina sell her heart out.
I think I think this is just going to make another feud continue the feud with the LWO and the Judgment Day, which, okay, fine, great, not mad. And so I honestly think that having Zelina fight Rhea with the LWO behind her and Judgment Day behind Rhea is just going to be something to continue that little feud.
I will say, though, imagine a world where Zelina Vega won.
That'd
you know how
amazing.
Cool that would be? Like, how refreshing that would be?
Amazing. If Rhea didn't just get this belt, I would be like, yes, I'm here for it. But the fact that Rhea just got this belt at WrestleMania, slow your roll. Rhea's not losing. Keep it to yourself because Rhea didn't hold that belt for a little while. But I do see a time where Zelina Vega should become the champion, and I would be happy with that.
Well, one
interesting thing, very underrated.
And to be fair, Lana said this is going to continue the feud. I think this is the end of the LWO Judgment Day feud, specifically because Judgment Day is on Raw, LWO is on SmackDown. No matter what happens there, you split. If they keep the split going, great. I hope they do. Because that's the whole point of the draft.
Yeah. I forgot
about
the draft thing.
Well, it's weird because I feel like some of these people that got drafted, they have really good plans for. Like, you can tell that they have something with Judgment Day. Like, they know where it's going. I don't know if they have the same feelings for the LWO. I hope that they do. I would love to see, like, freaking, what is his name? God, Santos Escobar fight Austin Theory for the U.S. title. I would love that.
I would love to see them take any of their factions and elevate them, not to the bloodline, but, I mean, the factions could be interpreted a little stronger, I think, because right now we basically have a bunch of jobbing factions. And listen, if you look at Rhea, it's a different story. But honestly, if you look at what Damian Priest, Finn Balor, and Dominic Mysterio have done recently, they're becoming like a surprisingly a jobbing faction. And then the LWO is not very different. So, I would like to see maybe both of them get some power here. And, obviously that can't happen in the same match. But I do really like the LWO, and I really like the Judgment Day. So hopefully this match goes well enough to where they decide to boost them both.
Well, we also have... Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Lana.
With the fact that they're on two different brands, I think you could allow them to give them this match could be the boost that they both need to push their factions to a different level and have, like I said, give the faction, if you're going to have a faction, make sure the factions are at least doing what they're supposed to do to take over a show or run a show or be intimidating behind, like the Shield was, like DX was. Like, you have to have a purpose to your factions. And I feel like a lot of factions aren't having their purpose. Now, unfortunately for me, if history repeats itself, I think the LWO is just going to be just, oh, we just needed to have they don't treat factions of color well on the shows. The only faction I've seen that they've done really well with thus far was the New Day
And the
and
Bloodline.
the Bloodline. They
Unless you're
really
Samoan.
did. They did
Unless you're
all they
Samoan.
could with the Bloodline. I don't think they're gonna have enough room for the LWO and the. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we also got to remember they're not even the only faction that got drafted to SmackDown because the OC got drafted to SmackDown
right,
too.
right.
So, now, if we are getting an LWO versus OC feud,
I'm
here for that.
That's amazing. I would
I'm
be
here
over the
for
moon.
that.
Ready? You ready?
Obviously, OC are heel in that.
I'll put
just
this
for
into the
WWE.
world. I don't
But-
care about Rhea Ripley. The Judgment Day's a jobber faction anyway. Zelina Vega can take the title to SmackDown, and then after she takes the title, having both titles on the same thing, they can go and fight the OC, and it would be too cool. That will
Dude,
never happen.
imagine Mia Yim versus Zelina Vega for a woman. Oh my, I'd love it. I'd pop so hard.
Will never happen, but wouldn't that be cool?
Not anytime
Really
soon.
cool.
Not anytime soon. It could happen in the future, just not right now.
Yeah,
But
it could happen. It could happen.
yeah, I'm just really excited for this match. I think it's going to be great. I hope it goes at least 15 minutes. If it goes 10, I'll be happy with 10.
Yeah,
I
I'll be
just
happy
want
with
them to
10
both get
minutes.
their time.
I agree.
7 minutes, no more.
So let's talk from one women's match to the next, and that is Bianca Belair versus Io Sky. I'm excited about this match too. Can't even lie. I'm very happy that Io Sky and Bianca get to, mix it up again, like you said they did in NXT. Now we get to see them on the main roster at a pay-per-view. I like Io Sky. I like Bianca Belair. I think this is going to be a really good match.
I agree. This will be a fantastic match, but there is an issue with me, and I think Damage Control is honestly holding back Io. And so maybe she'll get her opportunity to strike out as her own singles wrestler. That's what I can hope for in this match. But I just have a feeling this is just another match, and Bianca is going to maintain, retain, and absolutely dominate this match too.
So Wes was present. Wes and I went to a coffee shop a couple weeks ago, right before the draft, and I pitched this like fantasy booking of how I would split up Damage Control, and you have Io Sky be this like really big baby face and like all this other stuff. But at this point, I don't think I want that anymore. I think what I really want is I just want Io Sky to take the belt off Bianca. I love Bianca. I don't think this is the right time for her to take the belt off of her. I think this is definitely one of those like Night of Champions, Money in the Bank kind of time periods where Io should take the belt off Bianca. Preferably in a triple threat with Bayley, wink wink. But I just think Io is at the point now where the fans are behind her. They want her to be a face. She is such a captivating face. Also, Io got drafted to the same brand as Asuka. They are both on SmackDown. And I want a SmackDown women's title match between Io Sky and Asuka. So, we could have gotten that if Asuka would have won at Mania. Just saying. But
what they do to Asuka is a crime against humanity, and she's not even on this card.
Well, she's on hiatus right now. She's taking a break. But,
I personally, I agree with everything else said. I think Io Sky will be an amazing champion. I think Damage Control is kind of holding her back a little bit, personally. But I still think Bianca Belair is going to win this match.
Yeah,
I
just
think
another
Bianca.
faction where you become strictly worse. The more you have to a group, the worse you become in this WWE.
I think for sure Bianca is winning this match. I definitely do not think this is the end of this feud, though. I think it's going to go
Oh no.
longer for sure. I would love to see a situation where at Night of Champions, you have Bianca and Io, they're having a match, and then Bayley and Dakota just come in and make it have a double DQ. We get this like build to a fatal 4-way at Money in the Bank. I think it could be really good. I know I may be the only person with that opinion, but I do think it's time for Io to split up and go on her own. So yeah, Bianca's winning this match though.
See, I'm ready for Bayley to do anything else with her career. Either dig further into the heel bit and get some new lackeys, or go babyface. But damage control's done for me. Like, I don't think I've been captivated by anything damage control has done for the past 6 months on programming.
Fair.
Can't disagree with you on that.
They're just all so good. They don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Understood. Gotcha. Next match. Last match is
Cannot wait to watch Seth Rollins curb stop Omos. Cannot wait.
I don't care. I feel nothing. This is the definition of, hey, we're putting the World Heavyweight title on Seth Rollins, and we need to have him have a win at Backlash so that way he feels built up enough to take the belt at Night of Champions. That's literally what this is. And you're doing it on Omos, who's a free agent, so that way he doesn't have to get involved in the tournament and lose another matchup before the tournament.
Wait, he's not a free agent. Jobber squad. Jobber squad.
No,
Jobber
that's the thing,
squad.
Though. Omos and Brock, to me, are the only two people that are not part of the Jobber squad, if that is what we are calling them. Of the free agents, at least. But like, Seth is probably going to win the World Heavyweight title at Night of Champions. At least that's like the popular prediction at the moment. Even among this group of three. So if Seth wins here, he has some momentum going into the tournament.
Let me put it this way. I will literally buy 17 donuts and give them all to you, Brook, if Omos wins this match.
No, you know what you can do instead? You can go to lanagcreations.etsy.com and buy yourself some cup merch.
Just like you should, audience. You should also go to Etsy and buy the cup.
Look at that cup. You got the cup hat too. The cup sweatpants are on the way. I'm not sure if they're there yet. I haven't looked at the past little bit. They're on the way though. Buy yourself some good quality merch. You watch the podcast. We see the views. We see the views. We know we're popular. Okay. We get more clicks than the traders did.
Cup. Go get the cup.
So yeah. So how about that? How about you just buy the cup merch if Omos wins? I doubt. Look, unfortunately, I won't be making any money because Omos is not winning this match. But if Omos wins this match, people go out and buy some cup merch because, yeah. But no, I think Seth Rollins will win this match
because every good Homo sapien buys a cup.
Homo sapiens rise up.
Rise up, Homo sapiens. Period.
Seth Rollins.
This match is, I agree with you, Brooke. It's just a transition match to give Seth Rollins the win so he can go into Night of Champions.
I have to wonder, and you guys can tell me about this because I wasn't big into WWE when Big Show was at his heights. Is this how they booked Big Show?
No.
What are they doing?
Absolutely not.
Can we just
Big Show had a character
set aside real quick? Why is Omos being booked this way?
This is, if I was gonna compare Omos in terms of like how he's being booked to anyone else who's been booked similarly, to me, this reeks very much of how the Great Khali got booked when he first came up, and that's not comparing them in terms of ability, because honestly, Omos leagues ahead of Khali, but but also didn't think we'd be saying Omos was better than anybody on this podcast tonight. That's interesting. But Khali and Omos both got built up. They got brought in. They beat a really big, popular former main eventer or current main eventer. Khali's first pay-per-view match, he beat The Undertaker. Omos's first pay-per-view match, first singles pay-per-view match, he beat AJ Styles. And then, from there, they just kind of went on their path and went different ways. Only difference being Khali was eventually given a world title relatively early on to his run. I hope Omos does not get a world title anytime soon. He does not need one. But yeah, Omos, the booking is a choice. Put it that way.
If anybody looking for my opinion on this matter,
Oh, for sure.
Oh,
okay. Kali and Omos, like you said, Brooke, same booking, same pattern, same whatever. Although Omos is leagues ahead of Kali in as terms of wrestling and things like that. Um, Big Show, great wrestler, great
Hmm?
big guy. Did not get the same kind of booking. Actually, got stuff. Actually, got really good matches with really great people. Won championships. Did it all. And Omos and Kali got something in common that Big Show ain't got. I'm just saying. Put it out there. Just saying. Just saying.
You're
It's
not
the way
wrong.
WWE go when they book people and how they book people of color and how they book people not of color. I'm just saying. It's been a pattern. I still watch.
Wes, that was the missing piece in the conversation we had at the coffee shop the other day. So we were talking at the coffee shop. We were talking about like what is like the one gimmick that is destined to fail at some point in its career, right?
Mm-hmm,
And Wes
mm-hmm.
brought up the foreign heel, right? Which, in case you're unaware, viewing public, is like someone from a foreign country coming in, and they are the representative of this country
Of
on
that
programming, and
country.
we're supposed to boo them because they're a foreigner, right?
Right.
Think
Mm-hmm.
Rusev, think Sergeant Slaughter when he was in his Irani sympathizer gimmick, etc. Right?
Iron
Wes,
Sheik, Nikolai Volkov.
Iron
Mm-hmm,
Sheik, Nikolai
mm-hmm.
Volkov, etc. Here's the kicker, though. I was providing examples of foreign heels that were successful, right? Specifically, Wes brought up Gunther, but you also can talk about some of the people, like to a lesser degree, Rusev. Sergeant Slaughter was WWE champion during his stuff. And I think we have found the missing piece here is that the people of color that were foreign heels, they're the ones that get shafted relatively quickly versus here.
I mean,
The
look what they
only
did to.
one I can think of in like the past 20 years that has had any sort of like main roster, like good runs with a title belt is Umaga with the Intercontinental title. And even then, Samoan and Awahi family, they're kind of always the exception that proves the rule. So, I mean,
I mean, because like if you think about when what they did to Jinder Mahal, when Jinder was like, they were like, oh, we gotta boo him just because he's Jinder Mahal, and even when he won his championship and had his reign, it was kind of like
okay. But let's
right.
be honest, in all fairness, we were not booing Jinder for those reasons. We were booing Jinder because that might be the weirdest championship reign in my time watching the company.
I mean, but why was that? Why was
well,
that the weirdest?
for me, it
Because
was
they made us
mainly
believe that
because
was the weirdest.
it was weird to me because Jinder was a jobber before the draft, won a six-pack challenge, had a match with Randy Orton, I believe, at Backlash, and then just won the WWE title. He didn't get the progression, but also his whole gimmick was literally the modern-day Maharaja and like foreign heel Indian, even though he's from Canada. Like it always felt really. I don't want to say it felt really stupid to me how they booked him during that
I
time.
feel like it would be very similar to if Mustafa Ali, as a free agent, suddenly went and beat Roman Reigns. That's what it would feel like.
But no, Wes, you're not thinking positive, Ali.
Ali.
That gimmick
I
is
think
great, by
that
the
is
way.
the
I
best
love
thing.
that gimmick.
I love that gimmick, but I
So
think I I want more of Mustafa Ali. I want more positive Ali. I
it's
don't
such a
want
good
him to be a
gimmick.
free agent. They should have drafted this man to a show and then gave him like this man deserves so much more. He deserves so much more. I will die on that hill. That man
You remember
deserves.
when it
I
was supposed to be him that won the belt at Kofi Mania?
Yes,
You
over
remember that?
Kofi. Ugh. Like he just never got another chance. Like they were like, "Oop, you got hurt. Sorry."
And the thing
Even
is, he
though
didn't even get
I
hurt.
love
Hurt. He
Kofi,
just had like a mild concussion, and he couldn't do Elimination Chamber. That was the worst part about it.
Look, and I
All right.
love Kofi Mania. I enjoy Kofi Mania, but I need a Mustafa Mania at some point. I need a positive Ali Mania. Period. Just saying.
Yep. But
But
before we can get to the next pay-per-view where we can see Mustafa Mania, we have to continue on with this pay-per-view.
That's it. That's all the Backlash.
that
Was
was
the
it.
entire card.
Oh,
7 match card.
well.
It's a great
How
card.
about that? How about
Okay,
that?
We
so
talked about it all.
I would like to just ask a couple questions though, just to wrap it up, to get us in the good framework, because this is our last show we're getting before the draft is completely locked in, allegedly. And then Monday is when the draft is going to be like everybody's swapping brands. Nobody's going to be on the other show anymore, unless you're the women's tag champs, because they can be on both shows. Do we think anybody that we didn't bring up in the draft, is there anybody that is like your one to watch that you think is somebody that's going to get a really good something out of this draft? If you had to pick somebody. Because I have two. I have one for Raw and one for SmackDown. I think out of the SmackDown people, I'm going to be going with Karrion Kross. Mainly because one, I think Karrion Kross has kind of been lost in the shuffle ever since he came back. He had that program with Drew McIntyre that kind of really didn't go anywhere, and then after that, he just kind of really hasn't done much. But he has a match with Nakamura on SmackDown tomorrow. As of recording, we're recording on Thursday the 4th. So hopefully that'll be a good launching off point for him. And then on Raw, likewise, I'm going to go with Nakamura. Nakamura had a Miz TV segment this past Monday on Raw. He got booked really strong. I hope they give him a feud with The Miz, because that will be like a really good way to boost him back up the card. He's been gone for a while. So I think Nakamura and Karrion Kross are two people definitely to keep your eye on after the draft gets locked in.
Very fair. My choices. I was actually going to go with Shinsuke. Specifically, maybe he'll do some IC title things and other stuff. I think that'd be very cool. But I'm actually going to go with Dexter Lumis. So he's going to be with Indy Hartwell. That's going to be really cool. And I think we got a really great moment at Stand and Deliver with Indy and Dexter Lumis. And I think they're going to bring her to the main roster, and she's going to be going through, and when she's in danger, Dexter Lumis is going to come and save the day. I think that's going to be a part of
such a cute moment on NXT.
I'm about to say that cute moment on NXT.
Yeah. It's going to be
that was
endearing, and it's going to be on the main roster. So look out for that.
Which I'm okay with, because I didn't get to see a lot of their moments on NXT. So I am excited to see more of their, because I did see the moments on Stand and Deliver. I saw their moment yesterday on Raw, on NXT. I thought that was very sweet. I think it's so cool because Dexter Lumis's character is very interesting, and it's like this crazy man.
I love Dexter Lumis.
Yeah, I do.
He's like top 4 most entertaining things on WWE for me right now. He is so cool.
I agree with that, and I think him, like how I feel about Dom's character. Like I feel like Dom is just doing like the best of the like he is the best heel person. Like everybody hates Dom, and he plays. It's just so good, and I love
the booze this man got on Monday. Oh my god,
it was
crazy.
Sick. It was sick.
But talking about Dexter Lumis and Indy Hartwell, we also have to mention Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano. That stable that happened on NXT, the 4 of them, alongside Austin Theory, who's on SmackDown, but don't worry about him. The 4 of them are all on Raw, all 4 of them at the same time. It would be a really good boost to the women's tag division if you've got Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae back together. Plus, it means we don't have to look at Indy Hartwell's finisher as much, which is great for her.
Imagine a world, man. Imagine that tag team.
It was great. They were former NXT Women's Tag Team champions.
And then they can have come-ups with, Johnny Wrestling making some appearances sometimes. And then the Mr. Fantastic Dexter Lumis that'll make sure they never lose. It'd be great. That'd be great gimmick.
I think it'd be great.
It's a former stable from NXT called The Way. It was the 5 of them and Austin Theory as well. Really great stable. Obviously, Austin Theory is kind of busy at the moment, being the U.S. champ on SmackDown. But you get the 4 of them back together. I think it could really be a good boost to not only the women's tag division, the men's tag division as well. So yeah, The Way would be great to come back together for sure.
It is The Way.
Yeah. Shinsuke was my pick also because I feel like he's been gone way too long, and for him to come back, I think it's time to give Shinsuke the proper push that he deserves. the way they
Should it
treated
be AJ
him,
Styles?
uh-huh, uh-huh. The way they treated him, after he won the Royal Rumble, I was like, and then he like never recovered from that for me.
Nope,
So
no, did not.
I feel like this is the time they need to right the wrong that they did with Shinsuke Nakamura, since they won't do it with Asuka. But okay, anyway, and
Same
I
Royal
don't
Rumble
know.
craziness.
Huh. Wow, you know what? I feel like Raw really stole the show with this draft. I was looking through the draft, and wow, Raw is going to be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's the men though, because I think the SmackDown Women's division is nuts. You look at the people that SmackDown got out of this draft. They got Charlotte, they got Asuka, they got Rhea, they got Mia Yim, they got Zelina Vega, they got a couple other really strong women. I mean, did I mention Bianca? I think I mentioned Bianca. They got all of Damage Control as well. They got Alba and Isla out of NXT. Like that, and not to mention they have some other people too. You know, Shotzi's on SmackDown as well. You have freaking Scarlett is on SmackDown if they decide to let her wrestle ever again. You know, Tamina. I mean, nobody's meaner than Tamina. She's on
They
SmackDown
also
too.
have Lacey Evans on
Mm-hmm.
SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
Choices.
That
But
is
you
a
know,
wrestler.
they do have her. She is there. I will give her that. Not to mention BFAB also on SmackDown as well. Like outside of like one or two very specific people, the SmackDown Women's division is nuts, crazy nuts.
I think both brands got a really good, like you said, the women on SmackDown, the men on Raw. You really can't go wrong. I think they did a really good draft. It'll be interesting to see what happens when they lock it and see where everybody is officially locked. But
Mhm.
I'm excited for what's to come. I mean, I guess it's probably fantasy in my head to say that they have a story for everybody who they drafted and the people. That's probably, not reality. But I really do hope that they do have a good story for the people that they have, because they have great people on each shows,
Mhm.
and I can see some good storylines can come from that if their writers aren't lazy. Now, speaking of writers, is this writer strike going to affect the WWE?
I hope not. First off, just for clarity, fully support the writers here that are striking. You all
Me too.
1000% are completely in the right here. You get treated like crap by Hollywood. Totally get it. Um, for me, I don't think it will. One, because WWE doesn't really hire union writers very often,
Probably
which is an issue, but we'll talk about that
issue.
at a time when we have
Mm-hmm.
time to talk about it. Um, and the last writer's strike, it didn't really impact them very much because that was 2007, 2008. And if you know your WWE history, that was a great year for them.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it'll affect them that much. If it does, we'll see where things go. I mean, Triple H is the guy in charge of creative at the end of the day. So we'll see where things go. Well, allegedly the guy in charge of creative, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
But I hope this doesn't impact them too much, but it very well could.
Well, we'll wait and find out, right?
We'll have to wait and see because we don't know. But
Just like how
that,
you're gonna have to wait and see for Backlash and our review that comes after.
of course, because we're definitely going to have to talk about if we were right about what we think we're right about, or if we were going to eat crow about what we were wrong about.
Yep.
But lately, we have not been that wrong about a whole lot of stuff. But
Yeah, we were pretty accurate on WrestleMania outside of Asuka and Cody. So I mean,
yeah,
we did pretty well on a 15 match card. I think we did pretty okay.
yeah. So we'll see how we fare on this. We'll come back next
Yep.
week to talk about the recaps
Will
and the
Cody face more adversity? Will
will he?
Will
Will
Brook
he?
Lesnar go and win
Will
as
Rhea Ripley
always?
lose to
And
Zelina Vega?
I mean, and perhaps more importantly, who's going to be in that tournament at Night of Champions? We got
Yep.
probably an 8-person tournament. New
Yep.
world champion on Raw. Who's going to be in it?
What will be the Backlash to Backlash? New
Oof.
pay-per-view,
Oof.
Backlash.
Backlash.
New
of
pay-per-view, Backlash to WrestleMania, Backlash, WrestleMania, Backlash.
Right.
Big brain.
Right.
Yes.
But you all have to come back to find out what happened. And as always, check us out on Twitter at _reality to find out when all of these videos that we have will drop. All that's below. hit the like, share, subscribe, share, like, follow,
Follow these two.
follow. Because we need those follows. We would love those follows. And if you just want to follow me and Brooke, you know.
You want to hear more opinions that are
We
not
got a
from
lot
me?
of 'em.
Sorry.
You
go
can
over
hear
there.
how happy I am that Ronda Rousey's about to do a reality show and be off programming for a couple months.
Woo! Best news I've heard all day.
Stars on Mars on Fox. But
Right. But yeah, do that. Do all the things. You know the things. And then, of course, check out the merch link at lanagcreations.etsy.com. That's it. We appreciate you all so very much. And yeah. Cheers, y'all.
All right. Peace out, guys.
Cheers.
Peace out.
Cheers.
adrenaline in my soul. Something, Cody Rhodes.
Oh. Okay.
Put up.